So I'm back in my standard user console because what I want to do is I want to be able to show you as we're going through. I want to show you what things look like when you're running them as standard user and what things look like when you're running as administrator, because there's certain things that require that elevated privileges. And once we get later on, we'll probably run as administrator most of the time so we can get more work done. So to explore the help function, I want to start out with the commandlet called get-help. So we'll type in get-help, and notice it goes right down to the bottom of the screen, scrolls right down, and we've seen this before. So I'm going to pipe that into more so we can actually see the help files. So this is basically going to display all of the help information for the Windows PowerShell help system. So it's going to give us descriptions. It's going to show where we can go for online help, talk to us about update-help, which is used to actually update our help system. And then it'll show us syntax for actually running get-help on our system. So we see that get-help is basically used. We do get-help, and then we put in the name of a commandlet. We can also use search terms as well. So we can do get-help and put in a search term to find specific things that we're looking for. So let's look at these in action. So do a get-help, and let's say we want to find different commands that we can use to work with DNS. So I'm going to put a wildcard, DNS, wildcard, and the reason I put them on each side is this is going to search for commands that have DNS inside. So it doesn't just start or end with DNS, it's going to be inside that. So we'll put that into more so that we can see those more clearly. And notice we start to get a list here. And so it puts in a nice table format. So we have the name, the category, and then the module. And the module, remember, those are basically a collection of commands that are put together that get loaded. And notice here there's a resolve-DNS name that's a category of a commandlet. So a commandlet is a built-in, it's basically a built-in tool that's built on the .NET framework. So it's created with code. So somebody took .NET, probably Visual Studio, and they built this so that it can be used. Whereas the next line we see down, clear-DNS client cache, we see a function. And functions and commandlets work basically the same way. You issue them, you give them parameters, and they do something. The really big difference is that a function is really a tool that's made up of PowerShell commands and commandlets. So a function has been created using the commandlets and other code and logic in order to be able to run. So for what we need to know, commandlets and functions, they work the same way. So we'll go through, get to the end of that, and that showed us all of that information about DNS. So let's say we wanted to get more information about that get-service commandlet that we used previously. Type that in. Again, I should have pipe that into more. So we see this is really the helpful tool that you want inside of PowerShell. So notice it gives you the syntax. So look at get-service and notice -name. That's the first parameter in there. And as you see them go across, -name, -computer name, -dependent services, these are all positional. So you can use that when you're using those positional parameters like we talked about. It gives you a description of what the commandlet does. And notice it also has related links. These are really helpful because a lot of times when we're using the get verb, we're gathering information. Related links shows us other commandlets and functions that might be helpful for what we're doing. So maybe we're looking to restart a service, restart-service. Maybe we're looking to modify an existing service. Set-service would do those for us. So it'll provide us related commandlets and functions that might be helpful. And then down at the bottom, we see we have the remarks. So this allows us to be able to see examples. So we can add a parameter of dash examples at the end to get examples for the commandlet or function that we put in here. We can get more information by doing detailed. Dash full will display everything we have, and then dash online will actually take us online. So I like to use the dash examples because sometimes I don't need to know all of these syntax and all the related stuff. I simply want to know how to use it. So if I put in help, get dash service, dash examples, it'll provide me from simple example 1 to complex. Notice this one has a lot of different examples of complex examples of how I can use those. This is a great learning tool for you to find out how to use different commandlets inside of PowerShell. So if I go back and I do dash full, that will do the same thing. It'll go through. And what this does is it provides me full detailed information about all of the different parameters. So we see with the dash name that that's a string, which basically means that it's looking for alphanumeric characters there. Is it required? No, it isn't. And it tells you that it's in the first position. And it gives you other different information that you can use. So we're going to go ahead and do a Control-C and break out of that. The next thing I can do is I can also do a help, get dash service, dash online, and that will actually take me out to the help files out at TechNet. So the information is fairly similar between what's in the console and also what is out on TechNet. But sometimes you might just want to go out there and, hey, take a look to see what is actually out there on TechNet. So let's go ahead and go back here and notice I didn't put get-help in there. I put in help. Help is a function that's created inside PowerShell that's short for get-help, and it pipes it into more. And that's basically what it does. So instead of having to type get-help each time I run it, I can simply put in help to find that information. The next piece of help I want to take a look at is the about files. We'll put in help, wildcard, about, wildcard. So that'll bring up all of the different about files that are available inside of PowerShell. So we see things like about aliases, about arrays, all different things. So I'm going to Control-C to break out of this. So I'm going to type in help, about underscore aliases. And what this does is this tells me all about aliases. So I can go in and see how to work with aliases, commandlets that are associated with aliases. So this is another great tool for you to be able to go in and learn about PowerShell, because that's really what we want you to do. Sometimes you have to go out to a search engine or out to TechNet to find answers. So you should really become proficient at using the help system that's built inside. So next we're going to take a look at working with different commands and finding commands in PowerShell.